another quality that's super important for an IGL or a leader too is the depersonalization of wins and losses. And what I mean by this is, like, I'm not saying don't take responsibility for the loss, don't, take pride in the win, don't, try hard or what have you. What I'm saying is that it's important for IGLs to understand that they're not the win or the loss. They're part of the process. And I think what happens is, typically IGLs, leaders, they get into this position because, they have high value on what's happening. They have a high sense of responsibility. They have a high sense of ownership. And all of these things are great. Let me write these other qualities down. I'll start with ownership. These are all great to have. But what happens, or what I've noticed, is if people, or if IGLs, take too much responsibility, take too much ownership of everything, they're not considering the things that are not in their control. And because they're not considering the things that aren't in their control, it just leads them to feel bad. It leads them to feel terrible. It leads them to, maybe get tilted or upset at their teammates because they can't control everything. I think it's really important for IGLs to understand what is in their control, what is in their realm of influence, and at the same time, what is outside of their control. Maybe this goes along with awareness. Maybe this goes along with, depersonalization, what have you. But I think it's important to understand the points of control, out of control, and influence. Because these three things, control, influence, and things out of your control, are so important for you to understand. It's so important for you to understand because when you're in game, you can, as you're IGLing, as you're creating a game plan, as you have the strategy, you now can be better at assessing, okay, was it something in my control as an IGL I should have called? I should have said these things. I should have communicated these things. I should have practiced these things. Or is it, oh, okay, I did my best as an IGL, fulfilled my role. I did my responsibilities. And now it's up to my teammates to do their jobs, play their roles, do the things that they need to do on this team. And, that if that's true, then you're able to let that go. You're able to, see where the limits are of yourself. And at the same time, it's also really important to understand your points of influence. Because why is influence really important? Is because although it's somewhere in between of control, like it's kind of control, it's kind of not. Because, for example, I may have pure control over, how I think, how I feel. Not always. I mean, we're talking about, most of the time. But, if you're able to, have control over certain things or understand what are some, things that you have control over, that's great. At the same time, you may not have complete control over the game state. You may not have complete control over what your teammates do. You may not have complete control over what people say or how they respond to you, but you do have influence over it. And what I mean, so you may not be able to control your teammates, but it is totally within your influence to talk with them, how you talk with them, what you talk to them about, in what context do you talk to them? Do you want to talk to them before practice, after practice? Do you want to sit with them, during practice, during VOD review? All of these things are in your influence. You may not influence how they feel or how they respond, but depends on how you talk with them or what have you, you can influence the situation. You may not be able to win the round. At the same time, you may be able to put your team or say those things that you need to put them in a better spot. So you have influence over your situation, but not necessarily complete control. Yo, welcome to the string, dang iOS. Welcome. Okay, also, my goal is to hopefully maintain the sexy sick voice with the coughing because I feel it coming on. All right. So again, this also, depersonalization, awareness, this all goes together. Because again, all of this stems from how aware are you as an IGL of what is going on, not just for yourself, but for the game and for other people.